Dialogo. Lady Astley. Might I inquire where you procured your bonnet, Miss Fairbairn? Miss Fairbairn. Certainly, Lady Astley. It was fashioned by Madame Wexley of Bond Street. She is quite the milliner. Lady Astley. Most exquisite work. I am considering purchasing a velvet cloak myself. Verbose 1, to dress in a velvet gown, 2, to shop for a new waistcoat, 3, to try on a pair of brogues, 4, to pay for the garment at the counter, 5, to choose from a variety of fabrics, 6, to tailor to one's measurements, 7, to look at the selection of cloaks, 8, to bargain with the shopkeeper. 20 oraciones. 1, I am dressing in my Sunday frock for the luncheon. 2, he is wearing a wool waistcoat with brass buttons. 3, she tried on the petticoat and admired its lace hem. 4, the gentleman chose a top hat from the shelf. 5, we are shopping for cravats at the haberdasher's. 6, they are looking at silk fabrics for the winter ball. 7, my cloak was tailored by a seamstress in Bath. 8, I paid for the slippers at the front counter. 9, she admired the embroidery on the linen gloves. 10, the bonnet was too modest for Lady Talbot's taste. 11, they are altering the hem of his trousers. 12, he always dresses in a refined and tidy manner. 13, the cloakroom is just beside the changing room. 14, I am taking my satchel and umbrella today. 15, she wore a gown of blue velvet with silver trim. 16, the young man carried his coat over his arm. 17, I must mend the buttons on my overcoat. 18, that frock was fashionable in London last autumn. 19, my brother is purchasing a bespoke suit in Savile Row. 20, she looked splendid in her dainty white gloves. A visit to the milliner's on High Street. It was a rather crisp morning in early March when Miss Beatrice Penhaligon stepped out onto High Street, her gloved hands clutching a modest coin purse and her bonnet tied neatly beneath her chin. The mist curled about the edges of her cloak as she made her way toward Madame Leontine's millinery, a place much favored by the ladies of genteel society. She was in search of an ensemble befitting the charity garden party to be held at Wexford Hall. Upon entering the shop, a small bell above the door gave a polite chime. The air was scented with lavender sachets and fresh muslin. Inside, rows of hats, gloves, waistcoats, and delicate gowns hung neatly upon wooden mannequins and brass rails. A refined young assistant, clad in a burgundy waistcoat and crisp collar, greeted her with a slight bow. "Good morning, madam. Might I assist you in your selection today?" "I am in search of a new bonnet," Beatrice replied with poise. "Something suitable for daylight hours and perhaps adorned with modest feathers." "Certainly. We have just received a new shipment of Parisian silks, and Madame herself is in the rear chamber tailoring a velvet gown for Lady Witherspoon." Beatrice examined the display with discerning eye. One bonnet was fashioned from fine straw and trimmed with pale ribbon and a touch of lace. Another, made of burgundy felt, bore a sprig of dried lavender at its crown. As she tried each upon her head before the ornate mirror, she murmured softly, "This one might do for church, but the brim is rather broad." Meanwhile, a lady from Bath was examining a selection of waistcoats for her husband, accompanied by her maid, who was carrying 2 umbrellas and a folded mackintosh. Beatrice eventually settled on a navy bonnet with ivory stitching, its brim neither too severe nor too frilly. She also admired a pair of kid gloves with pearl buttons, which she purchased with only a moment's hesitation. As she stood at the counter, she glanced toward the back of the shop, where Madame Leontine was stitching a hem in silence, her spectacles balanced upon her nose. "I dare say I shall be the picture of propriety at the garden fete," Beatrice thought, slipping her purchases into a cream-colored satchel. She thanked the assistant, adjusted her gloves, and stepped out into the lane once more, her brolly now unfurled against the drizzle.